So on the other side of this coin, though, we have Tyler, the Creator,
Hmm.
who pretty much offered us an extended clip off of his brilliant last effort, Call Me If You Get Lost.
Okay.
Now, let me pull it up right quick. I think he gave us what, seven extra tracks? Now, we went through all the tracks and we felt like What a Day was actually the
Yeah.
song that we felt like was probably the best song and the most soulful.
Yeah, it's the one I like the best anyway.
Well, me too, because I think there's something about Tyler's rap game that goes kind of like understated, and
Hmm.
that's the soulfulness of it. And so, what I'll submit to you is that, you know, he has a soulfulness that's more of a modern day rapper soul.
Okay.
And so, What a Day is kind of an extension of that. And it's like, I know for an older hip hop generation, they probably won't hear the aesthetic or agree with
Hmm.
it as much. But this is also one of those times where I kind of want to take the record and the artist to highlight, well, things are different in every generation.
Right.
And when you actually listen to Tyler speak on record, he's very reflective,
Yeah.
very poignant, very insightful, very
Yeah.
thought provoking.
That
And
that is
so
absolutely true.
melody wise, when he gets in certain pockets, yes, that with his wordplay, uses of words, diction, content, vocabulary, yes,
Mhm.
soulful. And I think this is not a stellar example of it. I think it's the best example of something that he brings to the table that goes understated. And that's
Okay.
part of why I wanted to choose this too, because his soulfulness
Hmm.
and his insightfulness is going understated for who he is. It's like he's a star now, and people talk about stars and star qualities, but that insightfulness and that soulfulness is staying power in that.
Okay.
And so that's why I kind of wanted to highlight this record. I actually am like you, not as impressed with this record or any of the records as I am with the Boy Genius record.
Mm.
But also, too, and I always tell people this, there's usually reasons that songs don't make albums.
Yeah. Oh, so the estate sale, just to be clear, I say I didn't know this. It was a like outtakes or B-sides or like extra stuff left
I'm
over from
assuming I'm assuming so. I want to kind of find. Hold on, let me see.
because that makes a lot more sense that all of those, because again, like I said earlier, they're not bad.
Yeah.
They're just
See, these
not,
are eight tracks.
they don't
Yeah,
like jump off the page at me in the way some of the other things that we've covered
yeah.
have.
These are tracks that weren't on the original, and it's not like there's nothing wrong with these records or the What a Day record, but it's like, oh no, it's not hot Wind Blows with Lil Wayne. It's
Mhm.
not Lumberjack. It's not Corso. It's not
Okay.
What's Your Name. You know what I'm saying? It's not Run It Up. It's not the other stuff that
Right.
made Call Me If You Get Lost so epic, and so
Okay.
it's not on the level of most of the stuff that you'll find on the album. Usually outtakes for a reason,
Yeah.
like somebody like a Nas is truly an outlier in that
Hmm.
regard because it's like, no, his unreleased stuff be some of his best stuff. No, that almost never happens,
Yeah.
including with artists like Michael Jackson and Prince.
Yeah. Like I've heard like not every song REM's ever recorded, but like I have dozens of bootlegs and backs. What I'm like tons and tons of unreleased stuff that they did. And like, is it fun to listen to? Yeah. I mean, it's cool to hear their thought processes and like how pieces of those songs became other famous songs and that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, their editing process for what makes the album and what doesn't is good. And and I think that's probably the case with this too then.
I think that is the case. And you want to know what a lot of these records sound like? They
Hmm.
don't sound like lazy efforts,
Hmm.
but they sound like true outtakes. Like, even though What a Day is a dope record, it doesn't really have a purpose.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Song making oftentimes is intentional. And in the process of album making intentional, when going through the Boy Genius record, you reference the track before
Hmm.
in relationship into how it plays
Hmm.
going into the next record. You
Right.
get what I mean?
Yeah.
So part of why these records don't find themselves on the albums isn't because the records aren't there. it's because there wasn't space for it. Like I just interviewed Jay Skis earlier
Mhm.
this week.
Right.
Been a busy week, and Jay Skis, I asked him why his label, his drum work label mate Love wasn't on the project. He's like, oh no, we got records. It just didn't fit with what I was
In
trying
this
to do.
project, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't fit. And so these songs are strong. They just really don't fit on Call Me If You Get Lost. The main issue is that
Mhm.
Call Me If You Get Lost is probably his best project. And so quality wise, they don't stand up. Because I'd even tell you some of these songs would make some of his previous projects. And
Okay.
his previous projects are pretty dope. Tell me some of your thoughts about it.
Like, and that's one of the things I wanted to ask. Like, at the end of it is something like, you want the old T, sorry G, that picture faded. Like, so how does this? That was one of the things I was going to ask you. Like, how does this compare to his classic stuff?
I
Like,
mean, that's what I mean. Like
stylistically too, not just like lyrically and effort wise and B side wise,
stylistically,
but does it sound like
stylistic,
kind of that way?
stylistically, he has grown, and as a man, his content has matured and he has grown up. He still says, like Tyler says, a lot of childish, ignorant things, but he is saying them intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
And so it hits you different because you're dealing with somebody who you know is intelligent, is insightful, and is choosing to say like the ignorant thing, like tongue in cheek, in jest.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's gotten more comfortable at that as an artist, he's excelled. Call Me If You Get Lost is the peak of that, in my
Right.
opinion. And so that's what I mean is it's like, well, if you're like, well, what's his pinnacle work? It's like the real version of this shit is his
Mm-hmm.
best work. So
Yeah.
that so it makes the difference in the quality more striking. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
mean. If some of these songs were on the outtakes of what was it, Igor, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to think of the other one before Igor, but if it was on those other two, I might tell you, be like, oh no, like more of a fit, more growth, and I would like the records more. But off Call Me If You Get Lost, it's kind of like, no, the record's dope, but it's not.
Yeah. It's
It's not
fine.
everything.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
it's good. It's a good solid outtake showing from one of
Mm-hmm.
rap's best talents. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But outside of that, nah, I wouldn't put this on Call Me If You Get Lost. And What a Day would probably be the closest one that I would
Yeah.
to, but it doesn't have a place really. Like because some of the rhetoric on What a Day
Mm-hmm.
is the rhetoric on Call Me If You Get Lost, but not to the same effects. My lady don't trust me. Know I'm a sick puppy. Know that women throw themselves at me and men want me. Well, he
Mm-hmm.
discusses those things on Call Me If You Get
Right.
Lost already. You know what I mean? I got so much on my plate. That's why I sit funny. Well, he addresses that on Call Me If You Get Lost. You know what I'm saying? So some
Yeah.
of these records, it's not the retreading of bars, it is the retreading of themes and content that have already been explored to a higher height on the same project.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
But there's still some bars in there. And this is what I mean about
mm-hmm.
how he's still insightful and he's still witty. Like when he says, and I wouldn't handle your baggage if I had a bellboy.
Mm-hmm.
That's letting you know he's
Yeah.
letting you know that I'm witty as a rapper, but and he's always kind of stressed this, and this is one of the themes of Call Me If You Get Lost.
Mm-hmm.
He preaches about like his personal space, about peace,
Yeah.
about calm. And so he's letting you know a lot about who he is as a
And that's what the
person when he's
song's
saying,
about too, right? Like how
yeah,
you find that in the midst of all
yeah.
the other stuff going on in your life.
No, he literally says, "Thank you," because I was about to go. I need to get me a cab and need some scrimmage and chess. I could have bought me some land, and I could have bought me some land. I
Mm-hmm.
went and flooded my neck. You see what I'm saying? How he'll say something ignorant, but he'll say it intentionally.
Yeah.
He's letting you know. It's like, no, I know that it is more fiscally and financial responsible for me to acquire this land. But
Right.
right now, I want to floss, so I bought some gold chains with some diamonds in them instead.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I say that shit. Listen, I say this shit with my
With my chest.
chest.
Yep.
Like he's saying that he's letting you know, no. I'm not saying it like a fool. I'm saying it like, no. I'm very well aware of what I'm doing and when I'm behaving foolishly.
And the double obviously the other meaning there is it's sitting like on his
Chest,
literally sitting on his
correct.
chest.
Literally sitting on my chest. I'm like one of the best. I'm a workaholic and I need to get me some rest.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the insightful and poignant part about him after he says the ignorant stuff. And also with that, he's letting you know, well, I can afford to make these decisions because of how hard I work.
Yep. And he tells you why too. I'm so scared of going back to my past. Like he tells you why. Um
So
where
yeah,
to.
so the record is there and there are things there. He just does it better. He literally does these same things
Hmm.
better on this album,
Okay.
on the record that already made the album because he heard what we're hearing, which is well, those records are better,
Yeah, which is fine. Like, yeah.
which is fine. That's what the space is for.
Hmm.
So yeah, those are like that's my synopsis of this record, like as a whole. But I did enjoy it.
Yeah, it was good. It was my favorite of the ones I listened to. Not the whole estate sale, but like the like four or five of them anyway. The ones that came up on YouTube, and this is certainly my favorite of them. Like the one that
Hmm.
I it they're they're records that I appreciate. Like I can see the craft in them. I can see the bars. I can see like the skill involved, but it's probably not something that I'm going to go back and listen to. Really,
Right,
like
right.
so. Which no, that's kind of at that tier in my personal taste anyway.
And everybody makes records like that, and I think
Yeah.
that's the difference between when we do reactions. The
Hmm.
songs that we review have already amassed a certain level of classic status, you
Yeah.
know.
There's
And
the
so,
ones that we did those big show have done those big shows about are like the greatest songs that have ever been done,
right,
or
right,
many of
we're
them are.
covering some of the greatest songs. See, there's a difference between covering the greatest and then covering the latest. Like your
Yeah.
time frame, your angle, your approach, like it's all different. And so,
Yeah.
you know, but also too giving an honest take on where the artist is because he's at his peak right now, in my opinion.
Hmm. Okay.
So his outtakes are pretty damn good, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like
for an out, like
his
I didn't know when we started this conversation this was an outtake, like a B-side or whatever,
yeah.
and that gives me a much different perspective on it because for that it's really good.
Like this is what I'm saying. Like I think Igor won best. I don't call it by any measure, but I think Igor won Grammy for best rap album the year it
Mm.
came out.
Okay.
You know, I think these songs would be viable somewhere in a couple of gaps on that project, and definitely would sound closer to the level of song
Okay.
making as far as outtakes. So he's on his job right now. He's doing excellent.
What's happening, y'all? Thanks for watching this whole video. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so we can afford to do more of these. Take care, y'all.